Susan was sitting near the hotel pool when suddenly,
Mommy, help!
her son was sinking, splashing his arms, powerless in the deep end of the pool. She jumped up and ran as fast as her legs would take her. But Susan couldn't run fast enough. The weight around her waist, her thighs, and her hips slowed her down. Sharp pain erupted from her left knee like fireworks. As Susan collapsed on the ground, her heart pounding like a rock hammer, she knew it was too late. She keeled over, gasping for breath, pain crushing her chest.
What happened next is shocking and painful for me to tell, but what we didn't know at the time was that this event would lead to the discovery of a mysterious weight loss solution.
A breakthrough which caused Susan Atlee, a 45-year-old dental assistant from near St. Louis, Missouri, to suddenly lose 33 pounds of fat and amaze her friends and family with her mind-blowing transformation. And she would then go on to drop another 21 pounds in the weeks that followed, going from this to this, without exercise, without even dieting. She supported healthy blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol levels. She was able to wear her favorite clothes again. She started looking 10 years younger. And a few short weeks later, Susan woke up oozing a new self-confidence and happiness she hadn't felt since her 20s. Friends and family members were stunned by her new slim and toned body. Susan didn't use any of the methods that are so heavily promoted by the weight loss industry. The powerful fat-burning solution that she stumbled on is not a diet, is not a workout, is not a fat-burning pill, is not some weight loss gadget. It's like nothing you've ever seen before. The truth is, you don't know about this simple, natural solution because it's been hidden from the public since it was discovered.
It will shock you to discover the ingredients in the formula that melted away her excess body fat so fast. A solution that came from the most unexpected source.
A 3,000-year-old unusual tonic that dates right back to the time of the ancient native tribes of Japan. This tonic comes from an island where overweight men and women are unheard of, and where people have the longest life expectancy in the world. You take this tonic for its astonishing fat-burning benefits, as well as for the immense energy punch it delivers. Why is it so powerful? Simple. It targets the root cause of belly fat, a tiny protein in your blood that blocks your metabolism and causes inflamed digestion, devastating brain fog, and crushing fatigue. And it increases each year you age, meaning if you don't target it now, it'll only get worse.
When you target this protein with a small cup of a powerful tonic I'm going to reveal to you in a few minutes, you'll activate your master fat burning hormone, which converts the food you eat to energy instead of storing it as fat cells.
This is what Courtney from Pennsylvania did. She got rid of the fat on her back, lower belly, and arms using this formula. She feels so happy she can fit into her clothes from 10 years ago, and she has twice the energy she did before.
I don't feel hungry for carbs anymore like I used to every afternoon. I feel full of energy when I wake up in the morning. Just being able to wear my favorite jeans again after so many years feels wonderful.
And take a look at John from New Jersey. He used this science-based breakthrough to support healthy blood sugar and blood pressure, and he melted away 36 pounds from around his belly, neck, and love handle areas. His doctor was in shock about how he did it so fast.
I got to the point where I knew I had to do something about it fast, My weight was getting out of control, and I couldn't even walk up the stairs without getting out of breath. I was also worried about my heart and my blood sugar levels, and my doctor had given me enough warnings. When I started taking this new tonic formula in the mornings, I noticed the changes started happening after like 3 days. My junk food cravings went away like that. I had lots of new energy, and the weight just started dropping off of me real fast.
And here's Rena from Texas. She wanted to lose as much belly fat as possible for a family reunion, but she couldn't exercise because of whiplash in her neck. Here's what happened after following this protocol. And here's what Rena wrote to me. Dear Mike, I'm very grateful that I stumbled upon your video. My life has been transformed since I lost 38 pounds. It feels great to look in the mirror these days, LOL. I was skeptical about it working at first, but thank God I tried. The part that worked best was when you show the easy 30-second formula at the end of your video. Thank you so much. When you drink this tonic once a day before 10 a.m., you burn fat cells every night, resulting in breathtaking weight loss of up to a pound of fat a day. Your food is transformed into energy that surges through every cell in your body. You become as sharp as a razor blade as your brain lights up. You feel confident, strong, and as young as you did 10 years ago. Those are just some of the benefits. And I know you may feel a little skeptical when I tell you that drinking a simple daily tonic while following a few nutritional tips can do all this for you. I felt that way too.
But stick with me for a minute, and I'll show you the science behind this breakthrough formula that is unlike anything else. It comes from overseas, and a brilliant doctor revealed it to me.
So, if you've been struggling with your weight, don't be hard on yourself. It's not your fault. Nobody ever told you about this hidden cause of weight gain. You can be 100% sure you've never heard about it before. And make sure you pay close attention, because in a couple of minutes, I'll also reveal leaked insider information that blows wide open the deceptive methods of the weight loss industry. The one food most people believe to be healthy that clogs your arteries and causes dangerous cravings. And best of all, the little-known red Japanese flour that triggers your master fat-burning hormone and melts off fat like butter in a frying pan. Now look, before we get to that, you should know that I'm going to upset some people with what I'll reveal to you in a minute. Some greedy executives in the weight loss industry are already furious with what I'm about to tell you and are arming their lawyers right now. So make sure to listen to every word I say until the end of this video and pay close attention. This is critical information for anybody suffering from belly fat. Quite simply, you cannot afford to miss this. Before I share this incredible tonic with you, I should tell you about myself.
My name is Mike Banner. I'm a firefighter from Gainesville, Florida, and I'm also Susan's brother.
I've always looked out for my kid sister. We've been pretty close over the years. Her dream was to get married, have a beautiful family, and live happily ever after. She met her husband Mark and they had kids, but after that, it didn't quite go as planned. See, after her second child Jordan was born, Susan gained 40 pounds that she found impossible to lose, no matter what she did. It made her life a misery, especially as her old diet tricks didn't work anymore. In her 20s, Susan could skip carbs a few days a week and lose 5 pounds without breaking a sweat. Now in her 40s, nothing seemed to help. Atkins, keto, and paleo were all failing her. Even her exercise bike hardly made a difference. As soon as she stopped working out, the pounds came piling back on. Her favorite clothes didn't fit anymore. She'd see other women who'd be toned and skinny no matter what they ate. Why couldn't she be like them? Was it her genetics? Was she doing something wrong? She felt like she had no control. And she couldn't help thinking, was she doomed to stay like this forever? Susan started eating out of comfort to make herself feel better. And even though she avoided looking in the mirror and weighing herself, she could feel she was getting bigger and heavier. People would look at her differently, sometimes with pity in their eyes. As her weight ballooned, her back started hurting, and she felt tired all the time. The doctor warned her several times about her blood sugar levels. It put pressure on her marriage with her husband Mark. He only wanted the best for his wife, but it seemed nothing could cheer her up. It almost turned to tragedy when me and my wife Linda went on vacation with Susan and her husband Mark down in Clearwater, Florida with our kids. We were enjoying our stay at a hotel with a nice big pool. That day was hot, and we were chatting and relaxing in the shade a short walk from the pool as the kids played nearby. Only we hadn't noticed that Jordan, Susan and Mark's 7-year-old son, was in the water and edging toward the deep end. Now, this boy could swim, but in the past few months, he'd gained 10 pounds of fat, which is a lot of weight for a little guy to put on. We thought he'd be okay in the pool, but we were wrong. He was sinking in the deep end, and Susan, who was out of shape herself, was too slow to get to him in time. When I saw what was happening, I kicked into action, ran to the pool to dive in, and dragged Jordan out of the water to safety. And that's when, her heart pounding like a rock hammer, Susan blacked out. But what I didn't see was that Susan had collapsed, clutching at her chest. I was able to start CPR, but I'll be forever grateful to the paramedics who arrived in record time that day. She was rushed to the hospital immediately. We prayed for her life that night. Young Jordan prayed to God for a miracle. He just wanted to wake up the next day, see his mommy, and give her a big hug. "Please don't die, Mommy," he prayed. "It's too early for you to go." And maybe God heard Jordan's touching prayers, because Susan made an amazing recovery that night. And not only that, you'll be stunned to hear about her weight loss breakthrough that took place soon after. I'll tell you about it in just a minute. Before I do, there's something super important you should know, and it's that the fat on Susan's body was choking the life out of her heart. Susan had an appointment with Dr. Tamaki, a cardiologist from Japan, soon after her collapse. He was in the U.S. for 3-month placement, nearing the end of his stay. He told Susan that her extra weight, especially around the belly, meant that she was at permanent severe risk of a heart attack or stroke that could strike without warning at any minute. She had to lose at least 30 pounds to reduce this risk. And what he said next changed our lives forever. He told us the root cause of her lethal deep fat was a little-known inflammatory protein that millions of men and women are unaware of. Dr. Tamaki told Susan that this inflammatory protein was originally only seen in people who had been exposed to smoke inhalation, but now it was present in almost every overweight man and woman's blood.
This protein makes it impossible to lose belly fat because it blocks your master fat burning hormone, adiponectin.
And what's more, he said, you'll be at high risk of several deadly diseases. Diseases that are on the increase and are causing millions of good men and women to drop dead like flies. The scientific name for it is C-reactive protein, or CRP. Dr. Tamaki told Susan that CRP damages your mitochondria, which means your body can't break down your nutrients into energy. And not only does it stop you from getting energy from food, but it traps your body in survival mode. And when your body is stuck in survival mode, it shuts down your master fat-burning hormone and forces you to cling on to fat cells, making it impossible for you to shed them. And this is why it's the leading cause of belly fat. What's more, being just a few pounds overweight increases your CRP levels even more, meaning it only gets worse and makes it practically impossible to drop a few pounds unless you act immediately. High CRP levels are caused by foods that most people believe to be healthy, as well as hidden toxins in veggies and water. And there's no medical treatment for it that doesn't have horrific side effects. But the good news is that when you take this potent tonic daily before 10 a.m., you can switch off CRP almost immediately. When you do that, you'll activate your most powerful fat-burning hormone, adiponectin, cut up to a pound of deep belly fat each day, and you'll instantly enhance your health and energy levels. Susan was a little surprised and skeptical when she heard this, even though it was coming from a highly qualified doctor. She didn't know her belly fat was so deadly. She'd never heard of this lethal cause of weight gain. Why didn't doctors from the U.S. ever talk about it? She asked. Dr. Tamaki smiled and replied that Western doctors knew all about C-reactive protein and how it was the hidden cause of the weight gain epidemic sweeping America. But they were trained to provide drugs to manage symptoms and not to target the causes. This is why the weight loss and pharma industries are worth billions of dollars. In Okinawa, an island off Japan, it was quite standard for doctors to target this cause of belly fat using a special blend of antioxidant herbs and foods to resolve a laundry list of health conditions. And that is why Okinawa has the lowest obesity levels in the world, the best brain health, almost no cases of diabetes type 2, and the longest life expectancy on the planet. In Okinawa, 2 out of 3 people lived to the age of 97.
Susan didn't know that she could target belly fat with anything except the diet and exercise methods she'd always struggled with due to her knee pain. She had been skeptical, but now she started to think it all made sense.
Nothing she'd tried had ever made the slightest difference. No diet, no workout plan, and no supplements. Susan had tried Nutrisystem, Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, keto, and paleo diets. She and Mark had both tried the Insanity and P90X workouts, but gave up after 2 weeks because of the sharp pains in their knees. Dr. Tamaki said that when she did target CRP, she could go ahead and eat her favorite foods, such as pizza and chocolate desserts, and still melt the excess fat from her belly, buns, and hips at an astonishing rate. This is because when you target CRP, you activate your most important fat-burning hormone, adiponectin. Adiponectin breaks down fat cells at a rapid rate and supports healthy blood glucose levels. When it's at optimal levels, weight loss becomes much easier. Susan wasn't sure because she'd always believed you needed to go on a diet and restrict calories to lose weight. Dr. Tamaki kindly told her that no diet or exercise plan in the world would help her lose a single pound of fat if she had high levels of CRP. But what he said next made Susan very curious. He told her there was a unique blend of foods and herbs that incinerates belly fat.
In Okinawa, Japan, doctors recommend a special formula of foods and herbs that instantly activate dormant fat-burning hormones. When you do the same, you'll burn fat cells very fast without exercise, no matter your age.
You could lose 2 pounds the first day with this Okinawa formula, he said. Japanese doctors and dietitians would ask their patients to take this formula once a day before 10 a.m. And it had an incredible success rate. Patients of all ages, from 18 to 80 years old, would melt away belly fat in a few weeks. What's more, they'd maintain healthy blood sugar levels, cholesterol, and blood vessels too. And that's not all, because 95% of these patients supported healthy brain and memory performance and super high energy levels as they aged. Remember, this tiny protein in your blood is the root cause of runaway belly fat, inflamed digestion, and draining fatigue. Once you target it, you can melt fat at an astonishing rate by jump-starting your main fat-burning hormone, adiponectin. Adiponectin is a bit like an internal traffic cop for your fat cells. When it's switched on, it tells your body to use fat as energy instead of storing it around your waist, back, buns, and thighs. When it's switched off, it's like the traffic cops are off duty. Your fat cells are stuck in gridlock and get stored in your problem areas. Susan wanted to know if there was a new medical treatment that could help her. Dr. Tamaki shook his head. No medical treatment will help without giving you severe side effects, such as mental confusion and liver damage, he said. But there is something else you can try.
Before he could go any further, another doctor arrived to call Dr. Tamaki away to see another patient urgently. But as he left the hospital room, he suddenly turned around and scribbled something on a scrap of paper.
He said to Susan, "You nearly lost your family and your life when you ended up here in the hospital. And one thing you must know is that you don't deserve it. It's not your fault." Handing the scrap of paper to them, he said, "I have to return to my country soon. If you don't see me again, send an email to this address." When Susan and Mark left the hospital, they felt better because they finally understood the causes of these dangerous health issues that had been destroying their lives for years. The belly fat, the joint discomfort, the low energy. Why nothing they ever tried helped keep the weight off. Why their marriage was suffering so much. All they had to do was use Dr. Tamaki's formula, and they could lose as much weight as they wanted. You could lose 1 pound a day, Dr. Tamaki had said. Something very important that you should know is that Susan didn't know about the deadly risks of belly fat. That's why I'm telling you this now. Because you may have these symptoms without being aware of it either. You may have deep visceral fat that chokes the life out of your internal organs, which is why it's critical that you do what I say in this video. With what I'm about to show you, you'll target the single root cause of deep fat in 24 hours. When you do that, your fat will fall off your body with almost no effort. You may be thinking you've seen it all before when it comes to weight loss, but I promise you, you've never seen this in your life. See, this fat-melting solution I'm about to show you is nothing like your typical intense workout or detox diet. It's something completely different, and you can be sure you've never seen it before. It's not available in stores or online anywhere, but if you do what I say in a minute, you can do it yourself from home. Make sure you listen to what I'm about to tell you, because the truth of the matter is, the weight loss industry pumps out despicable lies to mislead you, to try to keep you overweight and sick as long as possible. Susan and Mark both fell for these deceptive tricks. It nearly ended their marriage as they grew fatter, sicker, and lower in energy. They were weeks away from separation. And yet following the weight loss industry's advice was the root cause of the problem.
Susan and Mark were shocked to learn that the health and diet foods they were eating were actually increasing the buildup. One example was the prepared weight loss shakes they took that are marketed as a health food. Some of these shakes contain dangerous trans fats
that clog your arteries and force you to store fat cells.
They also generate uncontrollable cravings.
And that's why it's so important for you to target your belly fat using this formula instead. When you take the Okinawa Flat Belly Tonic before 10 a.m. once a day, your body will force fat cells to melt, to release harmful toxins and shrink your belly. Stick with me, because I'm about to share the fat-melting formula with you. To know how to use this formula, you have to remember what Dr. Tamaki said. Levels of the C-reactive protein shoot through the roof when you inflame your lungs from inhaling smoke.
The reason this is important is because a couple of decades back, when I was a young firefighter, I saw this very formula in action. At the time, I used to work the pipes with Dempsey, a brave but overweight rookie who I'd taken under my wing.
As we tackled a blaze one night, Dempsey inhaled some toxic smoke and suffered from severe coughing fits and fatigue. And one old-timer firefighter, Greg, knew exactly what to do. He told us Dempsey's coughing was the type of dangerous smoke from an older building that filtered through gas masks, inflaming Dempsey's lungs. It would take months or even years for him to recover if nothing was done about it fast. Greg, who spent some of his childhood in Japan, brewed an unusual drink from a mix of berries and leaves for Dempsey. We thought this was a strange old remedy at the time, but it seemed to instantly fix the dangerous irritation inside Dempsey's body. And what happened next was astonishing. Dempsey's belly fat that hung out over his belt started to shrink. After 3 or 4 days of drinking Greg's strange drink, we could already see that Dempsey was losing weight fast. He'd always be tightening his belt.
It got to the point where his belly was shrinking so fast, I wanted to take him to see a doctor about it.
Dempsey was a guy who couldn't even lose his belly fat when he worked out every day. But only weeks later, Dempsey had suddenly become one of the leanest, fittest guys in the fire station. He'd lost 20 pounds of stubborn flab from his belly and love handles. At the time, we just thought he was doing a starvation diet. But Dempsey later told me he was eating all his favorite foods such as fries, cheeseburgers, and beer. And it was the special drink that melted his fat away so fast. When he took that drink every morning, he felt great and was full of energy, bright-eyed and ready for the job at any time.
I remembered this entire incident after Susan came back from the hospital, but I had no way of contacting Dempsey. The clock was ticking, and I knew at that point I had to do something.
There had to be a way to target this dangerous blood protein, or my sister could lose her life and young Jordan would lose his mommy. Dr. Tamaki had returned to Japan, so I urgently sent an email to the address that he gave to Susan earlier. I waited 3 days for a response, but none came. So that weekend, I got to work like a man possessed, researching medical journals in a library nearby. After a few hours, I finally stumbled on a book and a couple of journals where I found out more about C-reactive protein. In one of the journals, scientists reviewed 7 different studies, proving that C-reactive protein was the single common factor in every overweight man or woman because it